Hello troops, welcome back to the channel. It's Dan from Hades Airsoft. In this video, I'm taking an in-depth look into what I take on a 12-hour Milsim event. However, if you're not a Milsim player, make sure you stick around because I'll be breaking down my plate carrier, my first line belt, my riffs, everything I take to a normal skirmish game, along with, crucially, all the bits and pieces you're going to need, I feel, to survive a 12-hour intense Milsim experience. We're going to get amongst it straight away, troops, starting off with clothing. You don't always have to go super expensive on uniform. So this is Crye Precision. They're showing some signs of wear and tear at the moment, but they are a quality bit of kit and I like them and I'm not going to stop using them. And I make no bones about liking Crye Precision. However, that being said, this was £5 from an army surplus in Devon, okay, in the UK. Charlie from JBG picked out for me £5 for the Sweden Milsim, and we've just super glued on some female Velcro there to get some patches on there. So blending a little bit of old school and new school. Obviously got the multicam and the DPM. I think obviously it's really pertinent to where you're going to be operating, what camouflage you run. We know that Airsoft Milsim, it's a bit of a fashion craze sometimes. People like wearing bits and pieces of kit that, hey, might not be 100% appropriate, but we like doing it. That's fine. If that's what you're into, go for it. But as you can see, believe it or not, we are in Gran Canaria today. This is a nice little kind of foresty kind of vibe that we've got going on here. So I thought, hey, let's run what I would run were I to be operating in this environment. Plate carrier. What I want is a plate carrier that I can mess around with, that I can adapt, that I can evolve as my game evolves, as my sort of weapon system evolves, all of that good stuff, okay? So this, believe it or not, started life as a Warrior DCS plate carrier. If I'm being honest, troops, the only sort of Warrior DCS bits of it left are the front and rear plates, okay? So we'll start on this side, so it's my right-hand side. This cummerbund, again, Charlie from JBG squared me away with this. I don't actually know who makes it, but it's a kind of low-profile, lightweight cummerbund because we've got obviously got all these kind of spaces here. That's just reducing weight. You're going to hear the brand Stab Solutions mentioned a lot. Obviously, sponsors of mine, and this this plate carrier is absolutely tricked out with Stab Solutions kit, as is the first line belt. It's pretty much all Stab Solutions, if I'm being honest. So you're going to hear that mentioned a lot. I do urge you to go and check them out, troops. There is a discount code, Hades10. It's some of the best stuff out there. On this side, I like to keep the cummerbunds on my plate carrier relatively clear. First of all is this little Essentials pouch from Stab Solutions, tiny little pouch. However, it comes in super handy. This is a couple of things that I carry in there. So I've got, not an awful lot, I've got an Allen key. That is for adjusting the hop on my pistol, which we'll come on to later. A combi tool from the army, all right? So any serving or veterans out there will know exactly what this is. It's for adjusting bits and pieces on the SA-80, but I still keep hold of them. They are very useful. And then this, call sign Big Dog squared me away with this. This is, it's something to do with welding. I don't pretend to know exactly what it is, but it's just a kind of rigid bit of pipe in there. That's the first innuendo of the video, a rigid bit of piping, so stay tuned for more of those. That will go down the barrel, push out the BB. So literally in that little pouch there, we've got 3 things. I can fit more in there, but that's what I've got. Next up is this little seatbelt cutter from Gerber, okay? Now, contrary to popular belief, I started using these before you see them in 13 hours on somebody's plate carrier, okay? I started this trend, maybe not started it, but I certainly was ahead of the curve. This was when I was working on armoured vehicles in the army when I was an instructor, okay? And these were obviously on every single seat for people to cut themselves out of the harness if you had an accident. Now, I keep it around, partly for nostalgia, but also partly because it's got such a cutting edge on there. It's super useful, it comes in handy all the time. This is called a stealth pouch from Stab. This is for my notepad and a couple of Permi pens. Let's put that together. Next. I'll start up here, and this is pure AliExpress China special. Now, because so much now, especially in Milsims, is sent over the phone, or you're using apps, you're using maps to navigate, all that sort of good stuff, you need that phone handy all the bloody time. Got £300 trousers there and a £5 army surplus shirt, so same detail. I've got a lot of money on this plate carrier, but that cost me less than £5 probably. So don't be afraid. If it works, use it. If it looks stupid but it works, it ain't stupid. Next up then is the 3 mag pouches I've got here on the front of the plate carrier. These are called Rapid Rifle mag pouches from Stab Solutions, and they come with Kydex inserts. You want something that is going to keep hold of them. It's going to keep them safe. Inserting those in there under a little bit of pressure, of course, okay? Locking them in there and then being able to withdraw them, super easy. You can do it without looking. You can do it just as part of that muscle memory. Dump pouch, and there is an extra magazine in there. Getting into that kind of what I run on Milsims, I'm always going to be carrying a minimum of 6 magazines, okay? Maybe go up to 7 or 8 depending on the mission, but I'm going to probably go for 6 magazines. But obviously as we move on through the loadout, you'll see that I'm carrying extra ammunition and extra gas and all the rest of it. But that's my first magazine, and I keep that in my dump pouch ready to go. So as soon as I've loaded that dump pouch is now free to obviously receive the empty magazines as we go. And this is made by Sword, okay? It's called the Tactical Exploitation Dump Pouch. There is a reel out there of me doing a little review on this. So I won't go into too much detail with this. I do think with this kind of kangaroo style, and it is from Australia, kangaroo style dump pouch, initially I was very skeptical because I'm used to having a dump pouch on the belt, okay? But I found that so intuitive, just to let that magazine fall, not fall, but you know, a straight line down from where the riff is going to kind of be held, is super comfortable. And it's a big dump pouch as well, troops. It's a big dump pouch, so you can fit, I carry my gloves in there as well, and you can just chuck stuff in there. As you're going through a milsim, you might get extra bits and pieces of kit. You might have, I don't know, your snacks in there, whatever, but good bit of kit. On this left side then, although I like to keep the common clear, I do have 2 things fairly prominent. First one is the pistol mag pouch, again Stab Solutions, and again Kydex, okay? So that's just going in there under pressure. And this here is a little tourniquet holder. So people say to me, why are you carrying a tourniquet? Well, 2 reasons. First of all, is that the Milsim games that we play out here in the Canaries require you, once you're hit, to apply a tourniquet, and then one of your buddies will come up and wrap a bandage from your wrist to your elbow, and that's you regen back in the game. The second reason, and I've got no compunction at all in saying, is that I've been around, unfortunately, quite a lot of pretty horrible injuries, and I can't not take a tourniquet out on the ground with me, because you never know what is going to happen. Hey, somebody could have an accident, a car crash, whatever, all right? And that could be the difference between saving somebody's life or one of their limbs. So it's just habit at the end of the day, troops. So I still carry it around out of habit. And then on this side, we've got the radio. Now this radio pouch is from Warrior. It comes with the plate carrier. You can tell I don't open this side very often. And it is just quite simply velcroed into the interior of that cummerbund, and it's obviously padded on this side here, so it's not interfering too much with yourself. Now, it's a pretty big radio. It's one of these chunky boys. Okay. Thing is, as like a team captain, a commander, etc., I'm on this bloody thing a lot, so it makes sense. Oh yeah, Gibraltar Training Company. Check those guys out, by the way. It makes sense for me to have a powerful radio with a big battery, and make sure that this is pretty much one of my weapon systems, if I'm being honest. If I'm a team captain of 10, 20 people, my weapons are those operators, and this is how I communicate with them. If you want to see some good coordination with, again, Charlie from JBG, check out the video, we'll put it on the screen, when I was at the jail a few months ago. And on that, me and Charlie are constantly on the radio, directing our respective teams and directing that battle, and crucially winning that battle. So really important to have a good quality radio. So day sack, pack, backpack, whatever you want to call it, is going to be a super important part of this being a 12-hour Milsim loadout. Camelback, I am a super fan of Camelback day sacks. They're not expensive. I can't remember. I think this was, I can't remember. I think it's about £200, £250, something like that. So this is quite new. It's called a Hawg, H-A-W-G. I don't know what it stands for. So you've obviously got a Camelback reservoir in the back there that can hold 3 litres. Next thing up is going to be a waterproof jacket. Out here in the Canary Islands, you might think, why the hell have you got a waterproof jacket? Well, I tell you, troops, it rains out here a hell of a lot more than you might think. Okay, so in here I've got a smock, okay, or a jacket. Now, I think it's super important, especially because, like, if we're going from, say, 12 in the afternoon to 12 at night, or 3 in the afternoon to 3 at night, you're going to obviously be operating in the hours of darkness. This is a British Army smock, but it's one of the kind of SF style cuts, but you can get just a regular, again, Army surplus, British Army smock, DPM from the 90s or the 2000s, pretty cheap. Right, now we're going to talk about like food and drink. Now we've already talked about water, okay? I would probably recommend as well taking your poison of choice. Again, a 12-hour Milsim or something. That's pretty cold actually. Other things I would say, sort of like muesli bars and, you know, cereal bars and stuff like that. Stuff that is highly portable and stuff that comes in its own wrapper that you could have perhaps in a pocket, open it up, get it down your neck, and away you go. Haribo Star Mix, okay, British Army runs on this, okay, this is morale in a packet. You know, you might have like a bag ration, something you can eat cold, something you don't have to heat up. Troops, I sometimes take a couple of sandwiches, I ain't even gonna lie. For nature's call, some wet wipes. I would usually have like a little bit of alcohol gel here, like, you know, just obviously clean your hands afterwards. Important hygiene in the field is still important. Okay, I don't have that with me now, but keep wet wipes with you. Again, small packets, highly portable. You don't want a big, massive thing of wet wipes. You just want something that, again, you can put in a mat pocket and away you go. You're obviously going to need as much ammunition and gas if that's what you're running for 12 hours. Probably take 2 bottles of gas. Okay, brand new bottles, because I've got this really kind of bad habit of thinking that, you know, when I'm filling up a gas mag, this is going to empty itself out in a constant stream under the same amount of pressure, and you're going to get X amount of magazines out of it. It's not the case. Continuing with the ammunition theme, because of the way I like to load my magazines, I need an adapter for the Tokyo Marui magazine. So that goes on there, okay, and the speed loader, classic kind of speed loader, goes in there, and away you go. Without these adapters, I'm in trouble. So I've got 2 in case one breaks. This was made by Marcos, a guy here on the island that makes custom made bits and pieces in 3D print. There you go. There's his little, don't know if you can see that there. We'll put it on the screen if you can't see it there. He actually made one in green with my logo on it, but I need to get another one off him, so yeah, we'll be in touch, Marcos. I like to carry 2 speed loaders, again, one for redundancy, but also if I had these filled up, I know that I can replenish all of my 6 magazines by using these 2, emptying these 2 out basically. iPro. Now, we know obviously Block Tactical, sponsored by those guys. There ain't no better iPro out on the market, troops. Just believe me, okay? Again, discount code, we'll put it on screen, HAD10, that'll give you 10% off at your checkout. So gloves, I've stuck with them. I've tried other brands of gloves, but Mechanics, they really are very good, and they don't break the bank either, okay? They're a good price, and they're just good gloves, troops. There ain't too much to say about those. This is a little gizmo, right? A rangefinder. Now, again, because I'm usually a commander of some description, this little bad boy comes in so handy. We've obviously taped it up and put a bit of scrim over there to kind of make sure it's not shiny and giving our position away. But this is so useful, especially if I'm really bad at judging distance. Terrible at it, okay? Normally in the army, they'll teach you to use like a known distance, like a football pitch. I don't play football. Rangefinder, super important. And then also when it comes to the distance of our riffs, if you know that your riff hits out to 60 meters and you get one of these bad boys out and the geezer is 80 meters away, you know you've got some work to do to get closer to get that shot on target. Okay, multi-tool, super important. This is a Leatherman's, okay? Super important, again, not just for, you know, things to do with, you know, mechanical stuff like with your riff, but just useful. You know, this is pretty self-explanatory. A Leatherman's, really useful. This will make more sense when I move on to the first line belt in a minute, but I use a thunder grenade system, okay? So it's important for me that I carry, because these are one use, okay? This goes bang, this is then useless, okay? Along with the CO2 little canister that goes in there. So I know that if I want more grenades, I need to carry more of these, and more of these. Head torch, okay? Really important if you're going to be on like a 12-hour Milsim that you have some sort of light, okay? This gives me red and white light, okay? A top tip, even though I don't have it at the moment on here, is have a spare set of batteries, okay? So this takes 3 AAAs, have them taped to the back of, I should have done this earlier, I clearly didn't, taped to the back of your head torch. So that means wherever the head torch goes, a spare set of batteries goes with it. Now, believe it or not, this is not for me, but I've got like a spare nozzle, spare hot rubbers. So actually, me and Carlos, we were on a Milsim last year, I think, absolutely miles away from my car and spares and a spare riff, etc. And one of the little springs in my Marui bolt went down, and I didn't have anything on me. Luckily, Carlos came to the rescue because he did have a complete kit of spares. But if you've got, especially a gas blowback, you know that the system is prone to be a little bit tricky at some times. So again, be aware of your needs, okay, and the limitations of your platform, and make sure you carry spares going forward. A little, what they call a power bank, okay, so a little power bank, okay, so for charging up phones, but also crucially as well, which we'll come on to in a minute, for charging up your tracer unit, if it is indeed, like mine, battery, like an internal battery powered rather than double or triple A's. This is, again, so British Army issue, it's the Virtus helmet. I think they call it like a bat skin or something like that. It's made by Revision, okay, and there are a couple of other countries using these, I think. I can't remember who off the top of my head, but we've got the night vision mount, or the GoPro mount these days for me, built into it. You can take it off. The current setup is I've actually got a sandbag. I cut open a sandbag and laid that on there as the base for the helmet cover. And then just added on a couple of different types of scrim netting, and then we've got the actual kind of lettuce or mop head, whatever you want to call it, on top of that. I can actually take this off if I want to, and if I'm in more of an urban environment and I don't need as much foliage on my head, I can take that off, but I kind of like it. It's kind of my trademark now. I've got some cat's eyes on the back there, useful for IDing me in the dark, and then we've got the horizontal counterweight pouch from Stab Solutions. Rifles back badge, that's part of our regimental insignia, okay, so we wear that on the back of some of our dress uniform, and we wear that on the back of the helmet. Right, troops, so let's move on to belt kit, first line kit. No, actually, let's do riffs. We haven't touched a riff yet throughout the whole video, so let's go for that. Okay, so Umarex Glock 17, really good bit of kit. We've done a review video on it, okay, a riff review, so check that out. We'll put the little preview of that on screen. Really happy with it. It goes really well just out of the box. I've done nothing to it, haven't changed the hot rubber or anything, and I don't plan to unless obviously that starts to degrade. But no, really happy with it. Fantastic pistol, highly recommend the Umarex Glocks. And then we've got this bad boy, the Tokyo Marui MWS Urgi. I don't know how you say it. Let me know in the comments what the correct pronunciation for it is. But no, this now is my jam. Tokyo Marui, absolutely love these riffs. I've got 2 of them now. We need to do more GBBR content on the channel, and believe me, that is coming. It's just before I started doing some of the more nerdier aspects of, you know, internals and stuff like that, I wanted to be a bit more clued up on it. So we will be doing more, but on the outside at least we can go into depth on that. So we've got the tracer unit up on the top. It's a knockoff Surefire one. Really good tracer unit, really powerful, and it also gives some of that flashy jazz, like that muzzle flash, which is really good. Got a sort of a Surefire style torch, again Chinese. I'm not paying 150 quid, 200 quid for a torch. I'm just not going to do it. Okay, but still really powerful with this kind of pressel on top. Okay, so I can either flash it or I can turn it on and off. We've got a EOTech hollow sight from Holy Warrior. That was still like 100 quid. Really good. It does the job. I'm happy with it. A Unity riser, okay. This is a little bit jazzy for me. This is a little bit kind of really airsoftery for me, rather than more the more Milsim side of life. You can get that sight on the target very quickly because it's slightly risen up, okay, so really happy with that. But I would say, troops, keep iron sights on your riff. The other day, I was in like a skirmish game against a bunch of rentals. This sight wasn't dialed in as much as I would have liked, and I wasn't hitting my targets, so I took it off and I popped up the iron sights, okay. He says, bloody hell. There we go. Popped up the iron sights and had a really good round, like a really strong round. So you know, it could be for you know, this could get damaged, or like I say, you just might not be getting on with it. You need to take it off. You can go back to your iron sights, and then got the, that is the stock that comes with it, okay. And then I've just got a, again, knockoff Ferro Concepts Desert Tiger Stripe sling, one of those adjustable jobs, okay. Tricky to do with one hand, but you get the idea. A sling. The very first video that I did on the channel, again, this will slide on screen now, I'm sure, was on my first line belt setup. Big fan of the concept, and I have a lot of fun mixing and matching first line kind of concepts and styles and stuff like that. Some Silums, okay, some glow sticks. That's an IR one. That's probably a blue, and that's probably a yellow, I think. We're on these kind of like little cable, I don't know what they're called, but this secures the Silum, okay, and all you have to do, I'm not going to do it now because it will wreck the Silum. You just pull down on it, and because this is like kind of abrasive, it cuts through that bit of plastic there. So what that means is the Silum isn't going to come off there for love nor money, but when you need it, you just yank down on it. That's another innuendo, and away you go. These are called Rapid Rifle CQB magazine. Pouches again, Kydex comes with it, Stab Solutions, and essentially they're just half size, so you can withdraw it quicker in that kind of CQB, you know, real high intensity gunfight that you're in. You don't want to be having trouble withdrawing a magazine. Talking about magazines, these are the Guns Modifier magazines for Tokyo Marus. We are going to be doing some reviews on this because I'm not quite sold on them. There's some things I like about them and some things I don't. Okay, but there will be some content coming in the future about these magazines and what I like and don't like about them, but that is not today. Next here we've got the POFAC, the pull-out first aid kit that Stab makes. And essentially this is designed so you can open it up like this in an emergency. And essentially you've got all these holes here, and it actually comes with like some kind of elastic kind of cord. So it's essentially designed for you to have stuff attached here, maybe here, so that when you open this out in an emergency, it doesn't all go flying everywhere as it just did when I opened it, okay? So again, really good bit of kit that Stab make. What am I carrying in there? First of all, emergency care bandage, or first field dressing, that's what you call it if you're a dinosaur like me. Again, I carry this for old time's sake, much like the tourniquet. Okay, these go together. In here, all waterproofed is more of a real life IFAK, as in plasters, bandages, alcohol wipes, things like that for treating minor injuries, cuts and scrapes, etc. That is really what you're going to come into contact with on a Milsim. Obviously waterproofed. We haven't really gone into waterproofing too much on this video. I think it's kind of self-explanatory with some of the stuff we've done before, but remember troops, if something, you know, you don't want it getting wet, waterproof it. You can either use little Ziploc bags like this, or you can use the bigger dry bags that we looked at earlier. And then I've got sun cream. Obviously we're here in the Canary Islands and it's very sunny, and you're going to get burnt and you're going to not have a good time. So hey troops, if you need it, take it. POFAC actually holds quite a lot of stuff if you configure it correctly. All right, but this goes in there pretty nicely. This is the smoke grenade pouch from Stab. Okay, so on their website, because the grenade pouch I use is the Thunder grenade and it is almost smoke grenade size, that's the one I've gone for on that. Okay, so that is the Thunder. I've got some yellow tape on this because when these go off, they go flying. Okay, and they're quite difficult to find. So yellow is obviously the colour that the human eye is drawn to most. That's why like school buses in America are yellow. Out here in Spain, it's the postmen, their vans are yellow, and things like taxis again in America, because your eye is going to be drawn to it. So I have that on there to find my smoke grenade after the fact. And then I've got this pistol holster here that I've kind of messed around with so I can rotate it. This becomes interesting when I want to sit down somewhere, so I can rotate the pistol like that, so that maybe getting in and out of a vehicle, I can rotate it. Okay, and then we've got a lanyard here for the pistol because I do not want that €200 pistol going missing. And then last but not least, we've got a roll of electrical tape, black electrical tape. I must admit, when I first put that on there, it was kind of an aesthetic thing, but actually it's come in really, really handy as time has gone on. Troops, that is my loadout for a 12-hour Milsim in a kind of hot climate, okay? Based on the fact that we're going to be out during the daytime and the night time. Let me know if this loadout you think would work for you. If you've got any questions, if you want merch, get in touch. Patches, stickers, all that good stuff, flags nowadays. Get in touch with me, follow me on Instagram and send me a DM and I'll hook you up with some merch. But for now troops, that is it. Thank you very much indeed for watching. We'll see you next time on the channel.